Hi, very good morning. Good evening. Give me a moment. I think I'd like to rather mute everybody. So that. All right. Now, all right. So thank you so much for joining in today, guys. So a very warm welcome to each one of you. And today, in fact, we are here with a 2-day session, and we are starting in today from 7:30 to 9:30. I would first like to pay my gratitude to you for having the trust and confidence in me and joining in. Before I proceed ahead, I would like you to confirm me onto the chat window. Just type audible if I am audible to each one of you. Right. So thank you so much. So I think a couple of people have already joined in. I could see a good amount of conversation. All right. So now is the idea that, right, you can hear me. Thank you so much for confirming the same. I would like to understand that which all cities are you from? You know, if you can just type the city that you're from. So let me quickly write down Rohit from Patna. I could see Rajneesh, Bhilai, Ahmedabad, Bhadresh, Chetna from Pune, uh, Manish from Namrata from Mumbai, Manteshwar from Kerala, Shimla, Randir. So we have people from various places. Chennai, again Kerala, Rashid. All right. If I missed, I'm sorry. So Nitin from Indore. Okay. And who else? I think a couple of people would continue to keep on joining in. Nitin from Indore and Himachal Pradesh. Birendra. Okay. Mangaon. Vikas from Mangaon, Maharashtra. Richa Dixit from Dehradun. Okay, great. All right. So it's so good to see each one of you, and I welcome once again. I would also like to understand the profession that you are in. So can you all just confirm me profession that you are in, right? I mean, that would really be great. So you can just, okay, so Istakana Khan, Istakana, right, teacher? I'm sorry, I'm not able to pronounce your name. Rajnish, entrepreneur, construction, education, social worker. Okay, again, preschool. So most of the people are from education administrator, Bhadresh. All right. And who else? I mean, NLP, Namrata, NLP, dealing with children. That's very nice. Shabra Rajan, I'm a trainer. Okay. And SBI Life Manager. Great. Richa Dixit Education. Great. So thank you so much for sharing. I think for those I could miss, my sincere apologies. But idea was to gather, I mean, where are you from, and to gather the kind of a profession that you are in. 70% of the people who join are from primarily the education or related backgrounds, and 30% people join in from the different background, and people join in from all across the length and breadth of the country, but highest always has been Maharashtra, and second highest has been Karnataka. Now that's not only I've seen like the trend, right? However, that's not so important for you at this point of time. What's important for you to at this point of time is to understand that what is in its store for you, right? I'm sure the purpose of you being here, different people may have a different purposes. Most of the people wanted to actually get into EdTech Center, and they know that career coaching is one of the great professions today, and DMIT counseling could be one of the great profession for you today. And that's the reason why people wanted to explore what exactly it means. There are a couple of people I'm sure would already be doing or already are a career counselor, and there are certain people who are already into DMIT, but majority of the time you just want to learn more and want to understand the different philosophy. For that matter, is the reason that you join these 2 days training program as well. I welcome those people also, but yeah, I would like to understand that who are the people who are already doing career counseling. uh, Millie, if you're not able to hear, you'll have to check your audio. I'm audible to everybody. All right. So, all right. So, can you guys mute yourself? Mute yourself, please, Anuradha. All right. So, okay. So this is what it is. So yeah, you can. Okay. So you can hear me, right? Now, yeah. So what I was trying to understand, who are the people who are already into career counseling? Anybody who's already doing a career counseling? just type I. Just type I. So now I know that a couple of people are there who are already doing career counseling. I mean, officially, okay, couple of them. I mean, I could see there are 4 or 5 of them, right? Omar is already there, and Birendra is there, Namrata is there, Bhadresh Shah is there. Right, okay. That's pretty lovely. Who are the people who are already into DMIT? Say me. Here we said I, you say me. So it will differentiate, right? Anybody who's already doing the DMIT business, just Chetan is already doing a DMIT business. That's great. Who else? Yogesh Bhandari, Millie, only helping friends with whatever knowledge you have. Right. Great, Millie. Okay. Anybody else? No? All right. So 4, 5, 6, 7 people are already into the trade, right? So that's really nice. So I'm sure even if you are into the trade, there would be certain learnings that you're going to have it today, and you can apply those learnings at your this thing. So let's cross learn and cross understand the thing. So with this, I mean, without like spending further more time, let's get started. But primarily, I would like to share why this 2-day training program has been created by us, specifically for the reason that I realized that what happens, the people who want to, like start the career coaching and the people who want to get into DMIT counseling and they're quite excited about it, they really want to do it, but they have no way and they don't know what to look for and what is to whom should you get the the DMIT done, and to whom should you buy the softwares, and how, what is the kind of a knowledge which is required, what is the kind of a software which you are supposed to be buying for that matter, like how do you do counseling for that matter, how much money can you make. So there are hundreds of questions that comes into your mind, and there's no practical answer which is available today into the Google or anywhere else for that matter, because ultimately what happens is the only thing that's available is the number of vendors to whom you can really call and just find out at what price are they selling the softwares and what are the reports like. These are the things that you come to know about it, and then perhaps you would speak to everybody and you would listen to the stories of how they could actually like make it successful or whatever it is. So primarily what will happen is, like the one who influences you most, you will get convinced about it and you'll end up buying a software, and maybe you'll get some training, but then you don't know, I mean, what quality of training would you be delivered. So why it's that always happened that you have to buy these softwares first and then you have to get into the training? So why can't this happen that first you get trained, understand completely what this business is all about, understand the technicalities of career coaching, principles of career coaching, various theories of career coaching, you understand the processes as well, and then you are able to understand what are the type of softwares available, what is the type of software that you require, and how would you benefit it, how would you get the client, all that stuff, right? My apologies, somebody's mic was on. Ramana. So ultimately this happens. So ultimately what I'm looking at it is like, I wanted to create it something where you all can be first, like you all can first learn about it. You can understand the various theories and principle of career coaching and DMIT, so that you have enough idea for you to take a decision. At the same time, you are fundamentally strong. And once that happens, then I think the life is relatively easier. Then it is a conscious and learned decision for you that whether you want to get into this industry or not, number one. Number two, if you want to get into this industry, what is that you should look forward for? I mean, what should you look into the softwares? And then finally, what is the roadmap to success? How would you how would you get the client? What is the client's portfolio? Like all this stuff. What will the cost to acquire one client? And how the complete process works. And so that's the purpose. We thought like let's create a 2-day training. And ever since we created that, and ever since we have been doing it, fortunately, I feel like towards the end of it, we get loads of compliments. So let's see, I mean, what is in store for you. So without wasting further more time, I would like to share my screen with you. Okay. Now, Today it's going to be a technical session and tomorrow it's going to be a marketing or a business session. I don't want to mix both. So ultimately, what we're going to do is today, I will be sharing with you complete technicalities. I will not talk about the business and I wouldn't want you to talk about the business today. I would want you to only understand the technicalities and that will cover up today. Tomorrow, we will be talking about something else, that's marketing. How do you get money? How do you make it profitable, right? So let's start it from today's technical training. So first, let's understand about the counselor. So let's say, who is it for? So no matter what backgrounds are you from, most of the people, though the people who join us are the educationists, but it does not have a matter what backgrounds are you from. It could be a teacher, it could be a career DMIT counselor, it could be, you may be into a job. So if you're an educationist, you already have, been dealing with the children. So that's really great. If you're a teacher, you again are dealing with the children. Right now, you have been doing a counseling without having any kind of a formal knowledge. Now, once you acquire a scientifically a knowledge and understand the various theories, now you will be having a structured format and the softwares to basically help it. So it will be more professional and it will be more structured. That is what exactly you will be doing, right? If you're a teacher. If you're already into career DMIT counseling, then obviously you are going to gain a lot of knowledge. Some people who are into a career coaching and they want to add up DMIT into their kitty, they're more than welcome. Some people who are into DMIT and they want to add up, like career coaching, they are also welcome, right? Then it could be that you are into a job. There are a lot of people who are frustrated with the job. There are a lot of people who may not be frustrated, but now they feel that's enough is enough, and we have been working for such a long time. Is the time now that I want to travel the journey from an employee to an employer. If you're looking for a journey from employer to an employer, so first step will be employer to, employee to like a self-employment, then comes in the employer. So that's a three-stage process that you would be covering in 3 months' time, right? Even that we have it something for them that people who really want to get into it. It's like when you start making money more than the money that you draw into your job, that's the point of time when you do it consecutively for 2 to 3 months, the time that you can actually completely 100% get into it. And there are hundreds of people who have got into it like this. So it's a safe transformation from an employee to an employer. Then coming to housemakers, there are a lot of people who are a housemaker, who are educated, but due to the children being very small, they don't really have many opportunities to go out and they can't afford to go out. So I think that comes very handy where, I mean, no matter which city are you from, you can really do this. And if you're a passionate individual, no matter what backgrounds are you from, but if you are a passionate individual, I think that matters a lot for you. So I really don't know what profession, but I've already asked you about the profession, so I won't be asking you again. Let's understand what is counseling. First is the fundamental work is called the counseling. So I'll read this for you because this is something, I mean, we need to understand. Counseling is a professional service that involves a trained counselor, and the word called trained. Trained counselor working with an individual, it could be an individual, a family, or a group to help them address and resolve issues related to mental health, emotional well being, and personal growth, right? And this includes career counseling also. The scope of counseling includes a wide range of issues such as stress, anxiety, depression, relationship problem, addiction, trauma, and many other. Counseling can be provided in many different settings such as school, hospital, clinics, community center, and private practices. The goal of counseling is to help individuals develop the skills and resources they need to cope with and overcome their challenges and to promote overall well-being and mental being. So this is exactly what it primarily means. In a simple word, if we really say, counseling is primarily helping a person with the and finding a solution to a specific problem. It could be an individual or it could be an institution, right? Let's understand it this way. Now, to be a successful counselor, you need to have a passion. You need to really have a passion for counseling. Passion is the first thing that we understand. Number two, you need to have the interaction skill. I mean, it shouldn't that happen that you're a very reserved kind of a person and you're wanting to actually get into counseling. No, You have to be outspoken, you have to be an extrovert, or at least you have to have an interest to really counsel somebody, right? So that is what it is. Selling skills is very important because while you're getting into the entrepreneurship, you are just not becoming a counselor. It's not somebody is offering you a job. You have to sell your business also. You have to get the clients also. So selling skills is something that is required to be a good, great career counselor. And hunger for money. I mean, you need to have a hunger for money. You can't do a social service all the time. You need to actually like be having a kind of a money also, right? Not Amitabh, that's not the sales, right? Great, Ujjwal. This is nutritionist and health consultant. Okay. All right. So this is what it is. Uh, so let's understand whatever the type of counseling that we really talk about. It counseling today is a very important thing because I mean the world is confused. No matter what subject that you're getting a counseling in, I think today constantly the people are seeking a professional advice for that matter, right? So there's a six-step process of counseling, and that is what exactly. Now let's understand the what are the six steps process. So idea is first is the challenge, right? So let's when we talk about a challenge, any point of time when you want to counsel somebody, you need to have a challenge. Without challenge, you can't do it. For example, let's talk about the career. When the parents are so confused about, and the children themselves are confused about that what stream should be selected after the 10th, that's the big confusion. Because thereafter, whether the child chooses whichever the stream that the child chooses, accordingly the career is going to be, like the complete roadmap is going to be. So at the time when the child is too young and doesn't is not being exposed to any of the, like, professions for that matter, the child is expected to be taking a decision for that matter. And even the parents have lesser idea because they're out of touch with the industry. They don't know much about it, and therefore they look forward for the help of a professional, right? So challenge is something which is the first thing. So there has to be a challenge for which you need to actually like be finding a solution to. So counseling will be a process to find a solution to the challenge that you have it. So here, let's say if we take an example of a career counseling, the challenge is that a child is confused, the student is confused about which stream to select, for example. So if you want to do that, then what the next step would be, second step would be, first the counselor will have to develop a great trust with the person, because the person will not be able to share the information until unless you actually develop the rapport and you develop the trust in the person, induce that trust that fine, I am there to primarily assist you in whatever the thing that you want to do it for that matter, right? So that confidence has to be developed, that trust has to be developed, that rapport has to be built up. That's step number two. Step number three is delayering challenges. So while you have developed the trust and the person starts speaking to you, you have to break the problem into smaller problems, and you have to understand that which step of the process the child has got the problem or the challenge. What is the challenge, or what are the multiple challenges, or what are the multiple the mindset challenges that the child has got it. So that is something that needs to be understood, right? That's the third thing. So that we call it a delayering challenge. Fourth is called the solution. When we talk about a solution, after we have delayed the challenge, either by one single thing or by doing couple of activities, there has to be a solution which has to be provided to the to resolve that particular challenge. And then there has to be a roadmap which has to be created, that fine, the roadmap could be for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or even 1 year. And that's what you create, that fine, if you want to achieve this, these are the things, these are the steps, and this is what are the milestone that you have to create it, right? And then finally comes in the review part, it that will have to do a regular monitoring along with the, the person who is actually like seeking that path and moving on to that path. So this is also something which is required to be done. So whatever the type of counseling that you have, it no matter, I mean, whether it's a relationship counseling, it's an it's like, it's a counseling related to matrimonial, this thing, it could be related to a business for that matter, It could be a counseling which is related to, let's say, career for that matter, or it could be like wellness, whatever it is, like, whatever the type of counseling that you want to give, this will always have these six processes in hand, right? Now, once we understood, next thing that the people ask me, I would like to share with you in the beginning of it is also that what is the kind of a money that you can make out of this business. So I would like to be rather practical. I don't want to tell you that you're going to getting into this business and you will become a millionaire. No way. You will not become a millionaire. What you practically will do is you can genuinely earn anything between 1 lakh rupees to 3 lakh rupees. Anything between 1 lakh to 3 lakh rupees. But here I'm mentioning 75,000 to 1 lakh 50,000 that you can start earning within 2 months to 3 months time. You will be able to start small and reach that area. I mean, that is something that's going to happen. Okay. So this is something that I can show you a path for. All right. Now, now let's talk about a scope of counseling. When we talk about a scope of counseling, I mean, what we are going to do is we are going to showcase you, like a counseling scope for these things that I'm talking about. The very first one is the academic counseling. Now, what is academic counseling? I'm sure many of you would agree with me that we at times face a challenge related to the child, where the child loses an interest into the studies and doesn't study, and therefore, like, it's like we have to constantly push, but because the child internally doesn't want to study, so perhaps, we most of the time we fail miserably. So important is that how to improve the academic performance, how to create an interest in the minds of the child, is something related to the academic counseling. Coming to career counseling, I mean, we need to actually, like, be, as I said, the bringing the person from confusion stage to the clarity stage. That process of counseling is called the career counseling, and that is something which is most in demand today across the country, right? That's career counseling. Third is the relationship counseling. Relationship counseling is something which is badly needed in our, arrangements that we have it today, because the increased number of divorces which are happening and the stuff like that. I think for smaller things, like we just like get into the fights and the arguments and stuff like that. I'm talking about most general common thing. I'm not talking about specific anybody, but it's all about the relationship. Maybe we are so shy, as an Indian, we are so shy to talk about that, there's something wrong into a relationship. And but the good part is, like, this is started booming up. This industry is at a nascent stage today, and it's gonna pick up because the people would understand you don't have to go to the counselor when the relationship are stressed. Rather, you have to go to the counselor when the relationship are most beautiful, so that you can retain that beautiful relationship for a very long, long, long time, right? So that counseling is very important. So it's about the relationship counseling. And there could be a HR counseling, and an HR counseling is like, I mean, you are helping the corporates to basically get the right hire and to understand the kind of an aptitude the person has got it. So today, when we are talking about a counseling, I'm just not here to talk about the career or DMIT counseling, but through these tools, we will be talking about these four type of counseling, right? Now, now, so to do the counseling, it is just not whims and fancies. Majority of the time, we feel that, like, is it that how the counseling is going to happen, right? I mean, most of the people feel that they're very good in convincing people. Somebody comes and the student comes in. You're a teacher in the school. The student come in. They definitely have to respect you. I mean, they have no choice but to respect you, right? They can't disrespect you. And they seek an advice. You give the advice, and you feel that you are giving a good advice. Yes, you may be giving a good advice, but is that the structured advice? Is my question to you. Ideas, is there any tool that you're using to advise them? Is my question to you. So there has to be a tool on the basis of which you can guide them. It has to be scientific in nature. You just can't guide a person just like that on the whims and fancies because you feel that you got a lot of knowledge about something. So important is there has to be a structure, there has to be a tool, and those tools are called the report generation tool or the report generation softwares. Because when you capture the data from the child and that software is the one that organizes that data and give it a meaning and a clarity, and you play a role of an interpreter where you explain that particular report and you create a roadmap for a child or for the adult for that matter. So this is something which is going to be a job. So what do you require? You require a scientific tool. What is that scientific tool? So the first scientific tool for academic or behavioral counseling would be the DMIT lifetime report. That's number one. Number two, for career counseling, the psychometric test report, that's going to be a tool. And for relationship counseling, again, DMIT compatibility report is going to be the next tool, third tool. And the fourth tool, which is going to be for HR, is again psychometric test report, plus it can be done through the DMIT HR report also. So you've got four different tools to do the four different type of counseling. Okay. Now, DMIT and its scope. So, I mean, we would be talking about in detail what DMIT is, and we'll be talking about in detail about the other stuff. So first, let's understand what is DMIT and what are the scopes of it. So first, let's understand the scope of it. So DMIT, that's called dermatographic multiple intelligence. You can do an academic counseling, you can do behavioral counseling, you can do career counseling, and you can do even relationship counseling. So with DMIT, you can do that, right? Career coaching and its scope. Now let's understand about that, and that's most important to my mind. Career coaching is the industry which is like, career coaching is the process where stream selection, you help the child with the stream selection, finding the right stream, finding the profession, and help them to filter out the profession. A person might have an interest in so many things, and you have to actually give him the clarity to, zero down to one single profession, what that process is going to be. So ultimately, at the end of it, you need to do that. You need to help him to find the zero down the profession, then select the stream and do the goal setting. That is called the roadmap. So this process is called the career coaching, and it has got a huge scope. Let's understand the type of scope that we have it in the country today. Today in India, we require 1.4 million career counselors to cater to 315 million students to maintain global counselor to student ratio. So what I'm saying is there's a counselor to student. For example, there's one counselor available for most of the time. What happens is you have just one counselor and the entire school where there are 5,000 students. For those 5,000 students, you just have one counselor which is being hired. Most of the people don't even have that counselor, most of the school. But there are good schools who have got that. But then can you imagine that one counselor handling 5,000 students? Is that justifiable? I mean, are they seriously doing some kind of a job? Is that the business they are doing it? Or it is just to showcase, or this is a fundamental requirement of the governing body that these are the things in the school that you need to have it, to classify, to demand this kind of a fees. People have it. But ultimately, let's understand. I mean, there has to be a counselor to student ratio. And there's a global student to counselor to student ratio for which you require 14 lakh counselors to cater to 315 million students, right? As per India Today report, we require 14 lakh counselors, and how many counselors do we have? We just have 10,000 counselors as per India Today report. 10,000 सर्टिफाइड काउंसलर्स हैं हमारे पास एंड इंडिया में हमको 14 लाख 14 lakh counselors that we require. Can you imagine the kind of a gap that we have it, right? Now the thing is, if you really want to get into this industry, it has got a great scope for a certain reason. Number one, there was a time when 5% parents were aware and they used to get the career counseling done. But last year figures are there are more than 15% people whose kids are in 10th class and 12th class. They started getting their individual career counseling done, not what the school does, but the individual career counseling done because they understand the importance of it, right? Career counseling in India is a 5,000 crore industry. Now, what happens is, the media says that generally the kids don't even know what is the total number of profession. Kids between the age group of 14 to 21 are only aware of seven professions. In all, seven professions, where we have largely about we have 250 professions in totality. So 250 profession hote hain, and we only know about seven profession. And when we only know about seven profession, what choices are we going to make? Let's understand that, right? So therefore, career counseling is very important. Currently, students are stressed, worried, and anxious about the future because they are not getting the right kind of a guidance, and they get into the clutter. They don't know what kind of a this thing is there, what the future holds in for them, right? So ultimately, to guide the people and to help the people and to help the society in March, I think we all understand that India has got a population of 25 crore students. 135 crores is the total population, out of which 25 crores are the student who falls into the category of what we are targeting at. So which means, can you imagine, 25 crores is a figure which is more than many of a country's population. So that's the kind of a market that we have it today, right? But to get into this profession, you need to have a right structure. And there are four things which are extremely important. The very first thing is the training. And that's what exactly you're going to go through that today's and tomorrow's training. It is a training which is the most important. You need to understand, you need to get first trained. Second is like the software. You need to have a right, authentic software which can actually generate the report on the basis of which you will do the counseling. So you require a training, you require a software, and after once you have a software, you have a great product. What you require is the sales funnel. You need to understand how do you market that product, right? And after that, like one is like you have a training, you have a software, you know what the sales funnel is for that matter, but at the same time, to connect all the dots together, you require a mentor, and you require a mentor who has been into the industry for a very, very long time. So what I'm trying to say is, and the person is accessible to you. So the idea is to really be successful. It's not the learning of a knowledge that you require. I know hundreds of people who are into the industry having great amount of knowledge, but still they fail to get the clientele. Idea is there has to be a balancing of knowledge, plus at the same time you need to know how to get into client, right? Give me a moment. So this is what it is. uh, this is the thing that we are talking about it, right? So ultimately, give me a moment. All right. Sorry. Somebody's or the other's mics, I mean, they, anyways. So yeah, thank you so much. I was just taking a water break. So ultimately, let's understand. So when we are talking about the first step is the training, and the training, there are two type of training that's very important. One is the technical training, and second is the business training. So today, what we are going to do, we are going to spend 2 hours from the time that we started. In this 2 hours time, we are going to be doing a technical training, and that's going to be very, very interesting. Towards the end of it, I'm going to ask you, how did you like it, right? And you need to be very honest about it. Second is the business training is something that we're going to be doing it tomorrow, because today, when we mix business and technical together, I think we don't do a just. So I think let's completely understand the business, the technicalities today, and then the people who are interested into business, then they can join in tomorrow's session, and they can actually, I'll take them to the journey where I can show them the world, that how technical training can really help you. The business training can really help you, how you can truly and practically can make money, right? No Excel figures, but really make money. So let's talk about the technical life. So what are we going to be learning in technical life? But prior to that, I would like to help you understand who am I, or what the organization is for that matter. Do we have authority to be standing in front of you that you will decide? So Mind Priest is a baby that was born out of not compulsion, but primarily out of the need where I felt that I required to get into trainings, empowerment of student, primarily because I wanted to empower my own children, own kids. And that's wherein like the research started, and gradually the birth of a mind priest. Officially, I started about 10 years back, or little 12 years back. But then primarily, we were formally being founded in 28 July 2015. So it's been 7 years officially, and trained 10,000 plus kids and 1,000 plus adults for that matter. We have 1,500 plus business partners. Now we have in fact 12, more than 2,000 business partners. During the lockdown and the COVID times when people were facing a problem, we were experiencing a 10x growth. And that is something that I'm really proud of it. And not only us, but even the business partners who were seriously doing this stuff at that point of time were experiencing that kind of a growth. Not exactly the 10x, but yeah, somewhere around 5x growth, they could feel during the time which was for people, it's a Corona or a COVID time, right? 40 plus products and programs, we have it, and we have already done 700 plus counselings, and with a rate of 4.8 rating that we got it, right? Now let's talk about the accreditations. I'm certified in NLP, certified in midbrain activation, certified in psychometric and DMIT, memory master, speed reading trainer, EdTech business coach, student empowerment coach, and personality development. These are the things that we do it very actively today. However, there are a lot of other things also which we don't do it actively, so I have not mentioned. But yeah, these are the things that we actively do it. And for the last 12 years, we have been doing all that stuff, right? Now, coming to the technical life, what's that you're going to be learning today? So, the 5-step process of career coaching is the first thing that you're going to learn. Brain lobes, what are the different kind of brain lobes? Because we need to understand the scientific process. The very first, we need to understand about the brain. Multiple intelligence theory, we will understand. McKenzie theory, we'll understand. Riaz theory, which is related to personality, we'll understand. Career suggestion, for that matter, stream selection, and psychometric test report. I mean, these are the things that we're going to be learning. Okay. Now, having said that, okay, right. All right. So let's understand, how do we choose the career? First, there has to be a process. So what is the process right now that we choose a career? And let's be honest about it, right? Today, if you want to choose a career, the very first thing as a parent, हमारा दिमाग कहाँ पे जाता है? हमको लगता है सबसे पहले कि पैसा होना चाहिए. जो भी profession, whatever the profession that we choose for our children, it should have a lot of money. And there's nothing bad in thinking that, right? The first thing that we choose and we try to identify, okay, which are the areas and which are the profession where there's a lot of money. So generally we say ki fine, the child has to be professional, he or she needs to have the right skills, and at the same time they need to develop and acquire a skill and a degree or things like that, certifications in the area where there's a lot of scope, or there's a lot of scope, right? So ultimately we see where there's a money. We'll talk about that, Rajneesh. So first is the income part of it, right? So when we talk about the first thing, income part of it, and income is the first thing that we choose. I remember at our days, even today for that matter, there are a lot of people who want to be a computer engineer, and that's a common example why I give it, because at our times when the technology had just started happening, computers were not there, and computers suddenly started coming up, and there were a lot of institutions that started mushrooming. So ultimately, at the end of it, everybody was selling a dream that fine, you do a computer engineering, and you can't do a computer engineering. So the portion like NIT started some, private courses and the stuff like that, so that everybody gets an opportunity to learn. And even the people who were learning, they were getting, because there were plenty of opportunities which were coming up, and most of them existed abroad. So ultimately, it was quite a profession for the people that fine, you do the computer engineering, go abroad, have 5 days a week, earn crores of rupees, settle there, have a quality life, and that is what it is. And the world started moving toward. This is just one example that I'm trying to give it to you. So income is the first thing that is there, right? The people consider income. Not everybody who got into it had a caliber and the caliber to basically do the computer engineer. Not everybody was having a logical mindset, but at the same time, people didn't bother. People didn't realize what kind of a aptitude that they've got it, what kind of a strength that they've got it. They knew one thing, that if at all there's a money in computer engineering, we'll get into it. And we'll do a hard work, but at the same time, we'll just get into it. And that's what precisely happened, right? So income was the only thing that was being seen. Then demand was second thing. There were a lot of companies who were hiring. So income was there, demand was there. And basis which the people will had to select the stream called science. And they selected the stream called science. Aptitude, whether the child has got that strengths or not, nobody bothered. Whether the child has got the kind of personality, nobody bothered, because they are at times, somebody has got the personality where somebody likes to keep on traveling. They have a lot of stamina. That's their nature. That's their personality. That's their persona. And they would like to mix up with a lot of people, the new people. Some people who are a people's person, they also always like to hold the mic and be into the training and be organizing a various kind of events. Some people are like that. Some people are very reserved and they would like to study and they would like to research so much. So you have a different personality, and not everybody's personality will favor all the profession. So for all the different profession, you may require a certain type of personality, right? So personality was never being considered, no matter what. And even in the government jobs, you'll find that there are a lot of misfits that the people have got it. Somebody who may be like an RJ may not really be very vocal or having a presence of mind and stuff like that. That's the kind of a thing that happens. Air India Radio and a lot of places that I've seen Doordarshan, when industries used to come in, like there's stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say, personality plays an important role, but that's completely being ignored. And interest, though, nobody even bothered about it. So that's the way in India. We used to select the thing, and even today, for that matter, this is the way we still select. Most of the parents still select this way because the mind automatically travels there. But is that the correct way? I'm sure each one of you will agree with me that's not the correct way. So what is the correct way? So let's understand that. But before that, let's understand, when we do something in which we don't have a strength or an interest, what do we get as a result? अगर हम किसी चीज को एंजॉय नहीं करते हैं, तो हमको क्या मिलता है इस बदले में? We get stress, we get frustration, we get low self-esteem, and at the same time, slow growth. So because something that we are not enjoying, we don't really get too much, right? Failure, you rightly said, Rajneesh. Mediocre, absolutely. Bang on. We just like, we have a mediocre kind of a lifestyle. I mean, we don't really grow in that profession. Right? So this is what exactly we get. And most of the time that's what is happening, because this is the way we are taking about a decision about the profession without taking any kind of a scientific this thing. So for 35 to 40 years, see, you get the job by 22, 23, 25, right? From 25 to 60 years is about 35 years. Now 35 years का मतलब हुआ 1,16,800 hours. That's the number of hours that we work. If I consider 8 hours on an average, multiplied by the number of days that we work. So ultimately, we are going to spend 35 to 40 years in a stress. So we do something that we don't enjoy. That's what exactly happens, isn't it? So what is that the role that you have to play? Because this is, do you think it's a serious problem or not? To my mind, it's a very serious problem, that the child who is 14 to 15 years has to take a decision about the life, how fair it is, and then you can't undo anything. You can't really undo. I'll give you a live example. Sometimes parents also get confused. Sometimes children are confused. So now what happened? I'm talking about my daughter, whose name is Ujasvi. She's about 18 years. Last year, she passed out from like MIT school in Delhi, and thereafter, like obviously, like in 10th, after 10th, in 11th, she took commerce with maths. Okay, now commerce with maths, and like like she was confused. Should I take science or should I take this thing? She took commerce with maths, and then finally, by the time she completed her 12th, she realized that she wanted to be into technology. She wanted to do the computer software engineering. Now in India, you don't have a way out. You have to first do the repeat the 11th and 12th class, all the subject of science. Then only you get qualified to actually like get into engineering or something like that. Until unless you want to do a BCA and MCA, it's a different story, but then that may not have that kind of a scope. So that is the thing. Now, ultimately, she was completely into the mess. She was fortunate enough to, get a green card and move to USA, where they have a complete different system where they teach you the subjects in the first year and in something called the community college, that you learn the subject which you have not learned, and you basically do that. And they also teach you the first year syllabus of the software engineering, what is being taught into the college. So after first year, you directly get the student. So 1 year you spend there, and second year you directly get the admission into that. So you don't have to waste your year. You have whatever that you had missed out in the first year, you cover up that also, and whatever you would have learned in the engineering, you do that also. That's so beautiful, right? The child still have a choice to change it. Otherwise, the child would have just like felt so frustrated, like my daughter was feeling frustrated. So this is just an example I'm trying to give it. So now with the new education system which is getting introduced, I think these things will change for sure. So what is the role that we have to play today is to educate parents on importance of academic career counseling. That's extremely important. We need to educate. Why? Because not because the profession, but the kind of a thing which is happening in the children who are suffering. I think it's a moral responsibility to ensure that scientifically they take a charge. We need to take a charge of our own children, right? So that's the reason why you have to educate parents on importance of academic and career counseling, because today also 15% people are spending, they'll spend money on holiday, but they may not spend 4,000 or 5,000 rupees in counseling. Still, why 85% people are not doing that? It's only 15% people are spending that money to get the career counseling, the professional career counseling done. So what I'm trying to say is the first is to educate that it's just a cost of a pizza or maybe a movie for a family, not more than that. And once in a lifetime, take that, right? So anyway, counsel parents, students based on the scientific tools. Second thing is we need to tell them advice is not something that you are taking it from your chacha, mama, dada, tai, or a friends, or the school, or the teachers, or the principal. Nobody has the right to advise you except the person who is being qualified to do that, the person who has been certified to do that, the person who has got a knowledge, who is using the scientific tool. That person can do that, right? And that's the need for an hour today. So now let's understand the 5-step process of counseling. When I'm talking about all that stuff, it is extremely important. Yes, Rajnish, counseling of parents is more important. You're absolutely correct. So 5-step process to choose a career. What are the 5-step process to choose a career? Let's talk about that. And we just talked about that. So India mein kya hota hai? I'll just do this little faster because I've already explained you. The way we choose the career, I've already told you. पहले हम देखते हैं whichever जिसमें income ज़्यादा है, income के बाद उस profession की demand भी होना चाहिए. Basis which we select the stream, then the aptitude comes in. We don't care about the aptitude, whether the child has got the aptitude, his or her personality resonates or not, or an interest is there or not. We don't care. So that's the way we do it right now. Right now, let's talk about how we should do it. The correct way to do it is we should first have an interest. For example, the child is confused because he's got an interest in so many things. And that will be the general trend. When you ask the child, when you say, Pata nahi, should I do this or should I do this? Should I become a chartered accountant? Should I do an auditor? Should I become a fashion designer? Should I become an interior designer? Should I become an architect? We don't know. I mean, the child is really confused about it, right? So second thing is called the aptitude. Now, when we say aptitude, aptitude is, so let's say the child has got an interest into 10 things. He or she may have an aptitude only in 7 things. He has an interest in 10 things. For example, he has an interest to be a cricketer. He has an interest to be an architect. He has an interest to be a fashion photographer or whatever XYZ, right? He may have 10 different list of intelligence, right? However, the aptitude that the child may have it is in very limited things. For example, the aptitude could be in 7 things, and out of it, 7 things your personality might resonate. or support only the 5 profession. Out of 7 profession in which you have an aptitude, in 5 profession your personality will resonate. Then comes in demand. So when you have actually filtered down from 10 to 5, by the time you reach the personality, out of those 5 you see which are the profession which has got more demand. So you say there are 3 professions which has got more demand, and out of those 3 professions you see in which one do you get the maximum income also. Then out of 3 you filter down to 1. So you started from 10, then you filtered down from the aptitude angle, then personality angle, then demand angle, then income angle. So from 10 you can filter down to 1 and 0 down to 1, and you create a roadmap for the child, and basis which whatever the stream as a eligibility criteria is required to be studied or to be chosen is what is being chosen. And that's the right way to select the career, right? So when you select the career in the right fashion, I think that is something which is scientific, and that is something which is kind of a roadmap for the people. Now, having said that, so this is the 5-step process, right? Now let's understand very important thing, and I want your participation here. We are talking about a brain lobes. We all understand that we've got brain, right? We all have a brain. We have a left brain and we have a right brain. We all also understand. We also understand that the left controls the right part of the body and the right controls the left part of the body, right? Having said that, now let's understand that physically we have 4 this thing, and Tanya, we will give you the recording for this, not this thing, the PDFs and all this stuff. We are not going to give it, and I'm going to take a question answer sessions towards a little later, right? हिंदी में मैं नहीं बोल पाऊंगा अनिल, बिकॉज का रीजन ये कि हिंदी में अगर मैं बात करूंगा तो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल साउथ से आते हैं और उनको हिंदी बिल्कुल समझ नहीं आती है। इसलिए मैं स्टार्टिंग में ही बताता हूँ कि जो पूरा सेशन है वो हिंदी में नहीं होगा, वो इंग्लिश में होगा। आप इसको समझिए, कोई क्वेश्चन होगा आप मेरे को बाद में फोन करिएगा कल, मैं आपको पूरी चीज एक्सप्लेन कर दूंगा, बट यू विल नॉट बी लेफ्ट दिस थिंग, राइट? So I'll continue in English only. Rashid, you're a part of it, I guess, already. Anyway, so brain lobes. So there are 4 different type of brains. So first is frontal and prefrontal, right? सबसे पहले हमारा जो होता है लेफ्ट ब्रेन एंड राइट ब्रेन। ओके, लेफ्ट कौन सा होता है, लॉजिकल या क्रिएटिव? लेफ्ट लॉजिकल होता है, जो कहते हैं लॉजिकल होता है जस्ट राइट डाउन लॉजिकल, जो कहते हैं क्रिएटिव होता है राइट डाउन क्रिएटिव। लेफ्ट ब्रेन, Rajneesh says logical, Shubh says logical, Satish says creative, Srividya says logical, Chetna says logical. Absolutely, it's a logical brain. Okay, so thank you so much for confirming. It is a logical brain. So left is a logical brain and the right is the creative brain. It's like ultimately left and right. So now let's understand, left brain में हमारे physically 4 parts होते हैं और right brain में भी हमारे physically 4 parts होते हैं। बट जो फर्स्ट पार्ट होता है उसके 2 फंक्शंस होते हैं, फ्रंटल प्रीफ्रंटल, प्रीफ्रंटल फ्रंटल, ये जो 2 पार्ट्स होते हैं इसके 2 फंक्शंस होते हैं। तो उसको समझना थोड़ा सा इंपॉर्टेंट, सो लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इट इज, राइट? तो हम सबसे पहले बात करते हैं द ब्लू पार्ट व्हिच इज विजिबल टू यू, राइट? व्हाट इज द ब्लू पार्ट मींस? फ्रंटल एंड प्रीफ्रंटल, एक होता है आपका एक्शन पार्ट, एक्शन ब्रेन, एक होता है थिंकिंग। पहले कोई भी चीज हम करते हैं, व्हाटएवर दैट वी डू, व्हाटएवर द एक्शन दैट वी टेक प्रायर टू दैट, do we think or not? We think and then we take an action, right? First we think that fine, I have to go from this place to the market to buy something. So first we have thought of an idea that we have to go to the market nearby and go to the grocery shop and I want to buy certain things from there, and you must have made the list and you do that. So that action has happened later. First the thought process has come in. Okay, so thinking is very important because you have to decide, and action is very important because if you decide, the things won't automatically happen. The grocery won't automatically come. When you take an action, go and get it, then the things are going to come in. So therefore, prefrontal is all about frontal and prefrontal. That's about the थिंकिंग एंड एक्शन ब्रेन. पहले आप सोचते हो और करते हो, राइट? दैट इज अबाउट इट. So that's all about the logical stuff. We'll talk about that a little later. Second जो है kinesthetic, that is reflected by, that is like, we're talking about a pink brain. And this is about the parietal brain. Parietal is all about kinesthetic. Kinesthetic means body movement. For example, when we move the fingers or we move ourselves, we get up and perform yoga, we dance, do stuff like that. What's going to happen? That's something which is where we are using a kinesthetic brain of ours, right? तो काइनेस्थेटिक ब्रेन हम यूज करते हैं अपनी बॉडी को, जहां भी हमको यूज करना है तो वहां पर हम ये यूज करते हैं. थर्ड हो गया टेम्पोरल. टेम्पोरल जो होता है वो कान के पास होता है. इट इज नियर द ईयर. इट इज बेसिकली अ प्रोसेसिंग ऑफ अ साउंड. इट ऑडिटरी प्रोसेसिंग. ऑडिटरी इंफॉर्मेशन को प्रोसेस करने के लिए टेम्पोरल लोब हमारा है. दैट इज द थिंग. दैट्स द फंक्शन ऑफ इट, राइट? लेफ्ट में भी है, राइट में भी. अब मैं बाद में बताऊंगा लेफ्ट का क्या फंक्शन है, राइट का क्या फंक्शन है. ओके. Then comes in the occipital. Occipital is about the visual. हमारी आईज कहाँ पे, यहाँ पे है ना? बट हमारा जो प्रोसेसिंग होता है वो एट द बैक होता है, यहाँ पे. तो यहाँ पे हमारा ऑसिपिटल लोब है. सो जो भी हम देखते हैं उसको कंज्यूम करके, उसका जो पूरा प्रोसेसिंग करके जो सारा, व्हाट आर द प्रोसेसिंग दैट हैपेंस हैपेंस एट द बैक ऑफ इट, राइट? दैट्स कॉल्ड द ऑसिपिटल लोब. So frontal is thinking brain, then prefrontal action हुआ हमारा. Parietal is about the kinesthetic, that's about the movement. आपके hand movement, body movement is coming from kinesthetic. Temporal is about language, and sounds and stuff like that. And occipital is about the visual perspective, right? तो हमारा लेफ्ट ब्रेन होता है और हमारा राइट ब्रेन होता है. लेफ्ट ब्रेन में जो आपके दो प्रीफ्रंटल और दो फ्रंटल होंगे, तो उसके बारे में हम बात करेंगे. विल जस्ट टॉक अबाउट दैट, राइट? सो अभी हमको ये समझ आ गया कि हमारे व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ ब्रेन्स दैट वी हैव इट. ओके. नाउ व्हाट इज इंटेलिजेंस फॉर दैट मैटर? वी ऑल से कि दिस गाय इज वेरी इंटेलिजेंट एंड दिस गाय इज डफर. दिस गाय स्कोर्स 95%. See that guy scored 99.9%. He's got into IIT and he's got a rank within 100. See that person, he's got into medical or she got into medical, right? She's very intelligent. She's very hardworking, keeps on studying. I mean, all that stuff is very common. We are raised by, talking about that. But have you ever thought of it? Anybody talking about says ki, do you know that guy? He's so intelligent. He has actually, he was playing a cricket, usne six maar diya. Have you ever thought of it? Do you ever have you ever called that guy as an intelligent? Or you say, wait, this guy, I went to his house, there was a party, and there was this girl, his daughter sings so very well. She's got a great singing skill. But do you say she's intelligent? We never say she's intelligent because she sings very well. Only when it comes to, when it comes to all about scoring well or getting into this thing, engineering, doctor, any higher this thing, we say the person is very intelligent. That's what we do, isn't it? That's the common phenomena. So let's first understand how do you define intelligence? So intelligence, to my mind, is an ability to solve the problem. ये एक ऐसी ability है जिसको हम solve करते हैं problem को, isn't it? Correct. Ishatya Khan, right? You're right. People have got good memory power. जिनकी memory अच्छी होती है, उनको याद अच्छा होता है, वो they answer in class because they've got a great memory, and people feel that they're very intelligent. And Rajneesh, how better the brain process the information receives and reflects in written action. Right, absolutely correct. You're right. So idea is that, yeah, so that is what it is. The idea is that what is intelligence? It is an ability to solve the problem. Now, different people may have a different ability to they may have an ability to solve the problem, but the functions are different. For example, if I talk about Amitabh Bachchan, क्या बोलोगे उसको इंटेलिजेंट है कि नहीं? What do you say? Is he intelligent? Just write down to the chat window. If I ask you, who is more intelligent? Okay, answer me this. Amitabh Bachchan, Mother Teresa, A.R. Rahman, Dr. Abdul Kalam. Amitabh Bachchan, A.R. Rahman, Dr. Abdul Kalam, and maybe let's take Virat Kohli. So tell me who is intelligent? Who is most intelligent? Anybody? Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, most of the people are saying all are intelligent. Shiv is saying all are intelligent. Badresh is saying Abdul Kalam. Chetna is saying in birth quality. Richa is saying all are intelligent. Field is different. Mahesh is saying yes. Chetan is saying all intelligent, all intelligent. Correct. So ultimately, there's a, like if you understand that clearly, ability, it is an ability to solve the problem. What A.R. Rahman is doing, he's creating a music. And in music, what he can create, Amitabh Bachchan cannot create, Mother Teresa cannot create, Virat Kohli cannot create, Dr. Abdul Kalam cannot create. What Dr. Abdul Kalam could do, that cannot be done by the Amitabh Bachchan or Mother Teresa or Virat Kohli. What Virat Kohli solves the problem, he needs to understand, he has to have a lot of stamina because he has to run. His kinesthetic ability has to be very strong. He has to really lead the people, lead the team when he was a captain. To lead, you require an interactive skill, interpersonal skill. And you also need to have a logical skill because you need to understand that how to create a strategy, a winning strategy for the team. Right? So idea is that it's just not one intelligence that will make you win. It is multiple intelligence that will be together that will actually be helpful in one particular profession. In different profession, you require multiple different skills. And if you have those skills, that profession suits you, otherwise that profession doesn't suit you. It's that simple. Correct. So what Amitabh Bachchan can do, the rest of the people can't do. So what I'm trying to say, as you rightly said, Chetna, it is the speciality, the quality, which is very important. So intelligence is not related to a specific thing that the person who scores well. And that's what exactly was being, like this was something which was introduced by Dr. Howard Gardner from Harvard Business School in US. He said that how can intelligence be categorized only to somebody which is logical in nature? The person who scores well in maths, Sakuntala Devi, you just can't say she's intelligent and rest of the people are not. Every person is intelligent because they know how to solve a problem in that particular field. Therefore, they are intelligent. And that's the theory that came to the highlight, right? So now the question is, this is the list of animals and creatures who are intelligent, starting from 10th, which is rats, pigeon, ninth, 8th is crows, then 7th is pigs, 6th is octopi, 5th African grey parrots, elephants is 4th, chimpanzees are 3rd, bottlenose dolphins are 2nd, and orangutan, which is like a monkey, this species, right? That's number 1. That's the list of your intelligent people. Sorry, 10 to 1. Now the thing is, another question which I'm asking you, which is very important to understand is, when we talk about a brain, what is brain made up of? किस चीज से बना हुआ है brain? Anybody would like to answer? Absolutely. So most of the people said neurons. Absolutely, it is made up of neurons. So my next question to you is, more neurons, does it mean more intelligent? If you have more neurons, does it mean that a person is more intelligent? Harshit says no. Okay. Chetna bhi says, Isna says, Namrata says no. Okay. So which means more neurons. So brain is made up of neurons. So if more neurons are not there, not necessarily. You guys are right, absolutely right. And I'm happy about that, because more neurons does not ever means that more intelligent. Because largely we as a human being, when we were born, there were 1200 core neurons that got into a brain. And we have almost kind of an equal neuron count, right? But we all are different from each other. So what makes us different? Are you aware of it? It's the connection, the active connections into a specific brain part. For example, the child who is logical in nature, उसका जो frontal वाला जो काम कर रहा है ना brain part, जो prefrontal है, prefrontal जो काम कर रहा है, that prefrontal part is very strong actually, right? Prefrontal part अगर उसके उसमें ज्यादा connections हैं, there are more connections. It's like a circuit. Neurons create a circuit, right? And once it is connected, there's an energy flow. In a simple language, there's an energy flow, right? For example, if you want to switch on the bulb, the moment you switch on, the circuit is closed and the energy flows and the bulb is ignited. Similarly, a brain has got a lot of connections, and once those circuits close, that becomes active. Some more the active connections that we have it in a particular lobe, that part of the lobe is more active. It is like we are intelligent. We call it that we get more knowledge and that becomes a comfortable area. And therefore, for few people, they like mathematics because their logical ability is very strong, their reasoning is very strong. But some people are very strong over here. Their 3D visualization power is very strong. Some people are a great fashion designer. They can think and imagine what colors this room will have it, right? Would look good for that matter. So that is the thing. Now, another question to you is, if at all, if having more number of neurons means more intelligent, then elephant has got the biggest brain. Elephant should have been more intelligent than the human being, but it's not the case. Why? Because again, as I said, it's the connections which is more important. It's not the bigger the brain that will make us this thing, but the connections that we make it is something. And therefore, till the time we are 16 years, we study because our brain completely gets developed by the age of 16 years. By the age of 10 years, it's 80% developed. So this is the time while the brain is developing, your neuron connections are more flexible and you can actually like do more with that. So therefore, this is the best time to study and gain knowledge for that matter. And therefore, you can train your brain and you can train your business, different parts of the brain also. So idea is that we all have got a different connections and different type of connections in a specific brain, and that becomes a comfort zone. All right. Learning is lifelong, right, Shiv? You're right, Harshit. The elephant brains are very big, but then that's not being developed as the human being. So all that stuff, right? So that is what it is. Now we are coming to the most important theory, जिसको हम बोलते हैं ये सबसे important है. ये ही theory है जिसके बेस पे सारी साइंस सब कुछ घूम रहा है. And this is something called the multiple intelligence theory, and I would like to give this credit to the uh, that is the Howard Gardner, who has who wrote a book called Frame of Minds, and that was published in 1983. And he took the argument and this thing forward that we have the different brain parts and our intelligences are basically based on the type of activity which is happening in each brain part. That becomes a comfort area. So different people have a different comfort area, and whatever the area that you are comfortable in, so those couple of things that combine together gives birth to a great profession. And if a child chooses that particular profession, it becomes a comfort area for a child. Quite logical, right? हमारा brain है, हमने बात किया था prefrontal, frontal, we have temporal, we have occipital, we have parietal. We've got 5 brain parts, right? 5 brain parts, 5 brain parts, 10 brain parts है. और हम ये भी बोलते हैं कि हमारी जो 10 fingers हैं और 10 fingers are connected to our 10 brain parts like this. Prefrontal, frontal, temporal, parietal, temporal and occipital. And same way like this. It is connected like this. Okay. Now, idea is that first let's understand ये सारी जो मल्टीपल इंटेलिजेंस है, there are 9 मल्टीपल इंटेलिजेंस, बट एक स्पिरिचुअल बोलते हैं उसको, अभी हमने I mean, like that is what not we are considered because that's seldom being considered. So major चीजें हम जब बात करते हैं, we have 8 different type of multiple intelligences, right? So the very first one is called the intrapersonal intelligence. Let's understand that very well, and I want you to respond to with the celebrity name. If you understand कि अगर मैं आपको बताता हूँ कि what is intrapersonal skill, intelligence, so once I'll describe you, you'll have to give me an example of the celebrity whom you think have got a great intrapersonal skill. Intrapersonal skill is called the people self smart. Self smart means, you know, these people are very, very like organized. They know what is good for themselves. You know, they can visualize. They are a little philosophical. They do in experimenting. They believe in doing the things by their own hand. They only learn best when they do the things from their own hand. So what I'm trying to say, intrapersonal intelligence is about the self-organization. You know what is good for yourself, and that is what exactly we talk about it. Give me an example of the people who are very organized. So somebody says Amitabh Bachchan, Badresh, Rajneesh says Nasruddin Shah, and Partha says Einstein, Namrata says Modi, right? Absolutely, all the examples. Javed Akhtar, yes. Rashid Gandhiji, APG, Abdul Kalam, blessed, yeah. So you're all right, absolutely correct, right? Now let's talk about APG. Yeah, thank you so much. Enough examples for today. We have second thing called the interpersonal intelligence. Interpersonal is the people smart. People smart means there's some people who take care of the other people. कुछ लोग होते हैं जो दूसरों का ख्याल रखते हैं, उनकी कोई प्रॉब्लम होगी उसको सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करते हैं. दे आर वेरी एम्पैथेटिक अबाउट इट. यू नो, लाइक आई एम श्योर द पीपल हु आर वर्किंग, आपकी दो टाइप के बॉसेस मिले होंगे. एक बॉस जो कि टास्क मास्टर है, आई वांट टू, दिस इज द जॉब यू हैव बीन असाइंड, नो मैटर यू हैव अ फीवर, no matter how you're feeling, no matter there was a death into your family, you know, like last week, and you have to go for a funeral, we don't care. What you need to do is, this is the job, we are paying you a salary and the job has to be completed, period. That's called the taskmasters. Second type of people are, if you have a problem in the family, they will rather not only advise you, will go out of the way to assist you and help you, and perhaps if it's required, they will start moving with you to sort out your, you know, problem at a personal level. So tomorrow you will work for them, not the organization, and that's when we call people work for people. तो ऐसे किसी आदमी का नाम जो आप जानते हो, एनी पर्सन जिसका इंटरपर्सनल बहुत अच्छा है. मदर टेरेसा, या मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल सेड मदर टेरेसा. राहुल सर, राहुल सर कौन से? ओके, ऑलराइट, मदर टेरेसा, दैट्स राइट. नाइटिंगेल, yeah, Mother Teresa. So majority of the people said Kapil Sharma and Modi. Mandela, that's right, absolutely. Sonu Sood says Namrata, that's correct. Principal sir, that's really nice. Puspita, Swami Vivekanand, yes, absolutely. I'm happy you have a great examples. Lovely. Now coming to mathematical intelligence. What is mathematical intelligence? मैथमेटिकल इंटेलिजेंस होती है जिसके मैथ्स में कैलकुलेशन मेंटली भी पर्सन बहुत फास्ट कर लेता है. मेरा भी मेंटल मैथ्स बहुत स्ट्रांग है, राइट? रीजनिंग, यू आर एबल टू रीजन आउट. दे हैव अ ग्रेट नॉलेज अबाउट द रीजन. तो रीजन भी होता है, एंड दे आर एबल टू डू द जियोमेट्री प्रॉब्लम्स यू सॉल्व कर लेते. तो मैथमेटिक्स मतलब रीजनिंग स्किल्स, यू नो, एंड मैथमेटिक्स में दे विल बी स्ट्रांग. दे आर गुड इन नंबर. वी कॉल दीज पीपल एज अ नंबर स्मार्ट. You know, everything they'll calculate into the number. For example, if you tell them that fine, I'm going to, you know, like India is a very big country, they will not understand. But if you tell them India has got this square kilometers of an area, they'll understand, because they understand only by numbers. They don't understand by the vastness, because that's very vague, you know. So that's something that the mathematical people do. Now mathematics mein to I'm sure you'll have many examples. Namrit, Vishwanath Anand, Ramanujan. Mahesh says Ramanujan. Raj says Vishwanath Anand. Namrita says my husband. Rajneesh says Aryabhatta. Uh, Prathara says Ramanujan. Ramanujan, right. Newton Shiv says, Prajakta says Sakuntala Devi. Absolutely great, bang on. Absolutely right. So we have that, right? Now coming to kinesthetic ability. What is kinesthetic intelligence? Tell me. Kinesthetic is about the body movement, right? Now kinesthetic में भी दो होते हैं, एक होता है लेफ्ट और एक होता है राइट ब्रेन. लेफ्ट ब्रेन क्या होता है? क्या होता है लेफ्ट ब्रेन? इसको हम बोलते हैं फाइन मोटर स्किल. और राइट ब्रेन क्या होता है? उसको हम बोलते हैं ग्रॉस मोटर स्किल. फाइन मोटर स्किल का मतलब क्या हो गया? इट मीन्स I am sitting and typing something. I am not moving my body. I'm only moving my finger. Where I only move my, part of my limbs, it's like fingers, then it is basically a kinesthetic ability, fine motor skill. But when I get up from the chair and I start performing dance, I start Zumba, I go for running, I play sports, that is called what? I do yoga. That is called what? What is that called? That call that's called gross motor skill. तो फाइन और ग्रॉस. फाइन लेफ्ट से आता है, लेफ्ट टेम्पोरल ब्रेन से आता है किनेस्थेटिक का, और ये जो होता है राइट से आता है. इन दोनों को मिला के हम बोलते हैं किनेस्थेटिक एबिलिटी, राइट. किनेस्थेटिक में तो आपके पास बहुत सारे एग्जांपल्स होंगे ही होंगे, और वो आ भी चुके हैं मेरे पास. सो वी आर सेइंग ब्लिस ब्लिस से स्पोर्ट्स, सचिन, धोनी, विश्वनाथन फॉर चेस. हाँ कह सकते हैं चेस में, लेकिन वो फिंगर्स ज्यादा यूज नहीं होती हैं, बहुत देर देर में चलना पड़ता है. गीत सेठी, यस. रामदेव बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल है. सचिन तेंदुलकर, वेरी गुड एग्जाम्पल. एवेंजर्स, ओके सेव. योगेश भंडारी, विराट. सबरी, सबरी सेज briefly explain again. Hrithik Roshan, yeah, correct. So we are talking kinesthetic ability. Kinesthetic ability का मतलब होता है बॉडी मूवमेंट, मोटर मूवमेंट होता है. हमारा लेफ्ट ब्रेन में होता है, राइट ब्रेन में होता है. लेफ्ट में क्या होता है? इट्स फाइन मोटर स्किल. एंड राइट में क्या होता है? ग्रॉस मोटर स्किल. When you type from the finger, you play a guitar, just use the finger. When you play a video game, these are all fine motor skill which comes from left parietal, right? And from the right parietal, what comes is when you get up from the chair, when you start moving your body, you're performing yoga, Zumba, you're dancing, you're running, you're playing badminton, you're playing any other sports. That's it, right? So thank you so much for giving an example. Now coming to the fifth one, linguistic verbal intelligence. Linguistic में क्या मतलब होता है हमारा? Linguistic का मतलब होता है इसमें भी लेफ्ट और राइट होता है, ठीक है. लेफ्ट जो होता है पहले, दैट इज कमिंग फ्रॉम विच लोब? पहले मुझे बताओ कौन से लोब से वो आ रहा है? विच लोब? वी हैव प्रीफ्रंटल, फ्रंटल, टेम्पोरल, पैराइटल एंड ऑसिपिटल. लिंग्विस्टिक, रजनीश ने सही बताया. रजनीश मुझे लगता है ऑलरेडी डीएमआईटी कर रहा है, राइट? टेम्पोरल, टेम्पोरल, यू राइट. भद्रेश ने भी बोला टेम्पोरल. टेम्पोरल लोब से आ रहा है. लिंग्विस्टिक इज कमिंग फ्रॉम टेम्पोरल लोब, राइट? ओके, नॉलेज, गुड. गुड रजनीश. सो एनीवे, सो ये जो है ना किनेस्थेटिक, दैट इज द लेफ्ट. लैंग्वेज का है ना टेम्पोरल लोब, सॉरी, टेम्पोरल लोब. तो टेम्पोरल कान के पास है, तो लेफ्ट में भी है, राइट में भी है. तो लेफ्ट वाला वो है, वो लैंग्वेज को कंट्रोल करता है, और मेमोरी भी वहीं पे रहती है. योर मेमोरी इज देयर ओनली, सो दैट टेम्पोरल लोब. So ultimately what happened when we hear from the ear, that sound processing will happen onto left temporal lobe. वहां पे हमारी sound processing होती है. So this brain is called linguistic. Such people will be able to memorize the lyrics of the song if they listen to once or twice. कोई है आप में से ऐसा जिसका temporal बहुत strong है? Anybody who has got a great temporal, and once you listen to the song, you are able to actually like hear it out, right? कौन है? Let me see. Rajkumar, yeah. So some people are able to do that. Namrata's daughter, that's great. So sometimes what happens is when you go Chetna's daughter, Sanat himself, that's great. So sometimes we go out in the different city or a country, we stay there for a very small period of time, but we have the ability to pick up the language very fast. And we start even communicating in the basic language. Whereas there are other people who just stays for a decade also into a specific area, place, and they don't understand that language. So ultimately it is, like this is the ability that you have. और द पीपल जिनका ये टेम्पोरल लोब बहुत स्ट्रांग होता है, मेमोरी भी ऑटोमेटिकली स्ट्रांग होती है. दीज पीपल विल बी एबल टू रिमेंबर द थिंग्स फॉर अ लॉन्गर टाइम एंड दे विल बी एबल टू रिमेंबर एंड मेमोराइज थिंग्स फास्टर. ओके, सो ये फर्क होता है कि जो लैंग्वेज वाला जो होता है, दैट इज वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द लिंग्विस्टिक वर्बल इंटेलिजेंस. These kind of a people will pick up multiple languages very fast. And verbal intelligence जो होता है, इसके अंदर जो होता है ये वर्बल इंटेलिजेंस के, इनको मतलब दे आर वेरी स्पेसिफिक ओवर द वर्ड. आपने उनको कुछ बोल दिया ना, तो वो वर्ड को पकड़ के बैठ जाएंगे एंड दे विल मेक अ इशू आउट ऑफ इट एट टाइम्स, सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से, यू हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल व्हाइल यू आर टॉकिंग टू देम, बिकॉज दे विल कैच द वर्ड एंड मेक द लिटरल मीनिंग आउट ऑफ इट एट टाइम्स, राइट. सो दैट्स अबाउट द लिंग्विस्टिक. तो जब एक सॉन्ग को तैयार होता है तो उसके जो लिरिक्स लिखे जाते हैं ना, that lyrics which is being written is called, that is coming from the verbal linguistic. Okay, Rajkumar, your mic is on. So this is what it is. Now coming to the musical intelligence. तो हमारा टेम्पोरल का लेफ्ट का तो लैंग्वेज हो गया, राइट वाला जो टेम्पोरल हो गया, that is giving birth to musical intelligence. So when I say musical, people get an idea that fine, when I'm saying musical means I'm talking about a person will be great in singing. Am I correct? That's the idea that we get it. But that is not the idea. Musical does not ever mean that you'll be great in singing. You may be great in singing. You may not be great in singing. It's not necessary. What is important is how well do you deliver? How well you emote? अपने expression को, अपने emotions को, how do you express? For example, some people are great in communicating. उनकी एक एक बात को आप बहुत अच्छे से समझ आती है ना. For example, why it is so? For example, I can simply say, see, musical intelligence is all about musical intelligence is all about like having a great knowledge about voice, temper, and tone and volume. Right? That's one way I say. Second way I say, musical intelligence is all about how well do you speak? How do you emote? How do you express yourself? Like, for example, your volume, the tone, when you give a pause. So the same thing, I'm doing it in two different ways. So one is in general way I'm saying, and second is like I'm putting my emotions into it. I'm sure you would agree with me that the second one is definitely better, right? So ultimately, हम म्यूजिकल इंटेलिजेंस की बात कर रहे हैं, तो हम बात कर रहे हैं कि हम हाउ डू वी एक्सप्रेस. इट इज समथिंग लाइक लिंग्विस्टिक और म्यूजिकल. लिंग्विस्टिक आता है टेम्पोरल लेफ्ट से, म्यूजिकल आता है टेम्पोरल राइट से. इट इज लाइक लिरिक्स एंड द सिंगिंग. एक पर्सन लिरिक्स लिखता है, द अदर पर्सन सिंग्स द सॉन्ग. तो दोनों का जो वो होता है वो दैट इज व्हाट इट इज, राइट. सो आई एम श्योर बाय नाउ देयर आर हंड्रेड्स ऑफ एग्जांपल वुड हैव कम इन. तो देखते हैं कौन है. मार्टिन लूथर किंग जूनियर. It means voice variation. You're right. Voice variation. Absolutely correct. Composing. Rajkumar. Composing. Guljar. एकदम सही पकड़ा. सही पकड़े जिसको बोलते हैं. Rashid. Martin. Right. Tone, pitch and transfer. That's right, Rajneesh. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Thank you so much for a great examples. Now coming to naturalist intelligence. What is naturalist intelligence? कौन होता है naturalist? Nature love, हम सब समझते हैं. These kind of a people have got lot of observation. They are very observant. Generally, they try. They're very curious people, curious minds. They'll not stop asking questions. वो questions पूछते रहेंगे, पूछते रहेंगे, पूछते रहेंगे, पूछते रहेंगे आपसे. And they will not even listen to the answer. They'll ask the next question. It's like that. है कोई आपका बच्चा या फिर कोई और घर के अंदर जो इस तरह से आपको याद आता है कि the person keeps on asking question, they are not interested in answer, they'll ask another question. My daughter, right? Yeah, my son Pushpa says, right? Namrata, my tuition child. Yeah, great. Srividya, my MIL, my MIL. Okay. Myself. Okay. Rajneesh, great. Chetna, Rajneesh, वो तो मैं देख ही रहा हूँ. Chetna, you have been asking the worst questions. Continuous questions, my son. Right, absolutely. तो ये लोग naturalist होते हैं. They may have a love towards nature also. They may like to have the pets also. They would like to go in open. They would like to discover nature. And at the same time, they are a little observant. If they go with you to the restaurant, they will observe certain things, come back and they'll tell you, did you notice in that restaurant these were the things? And you say, where were they? I don't know. Type, na? Correct. So anyway, just to give you an idea, that's about the naturalist part of it, right? So it primarily, to my mind, it also is available. It means the observation. Nature love, they love wildlife, they love animals. कौन है ऐसा? Give me an example. Let me see who are the celebrities. Charles Darwin, Modi, okay. Who else? Salim Ali, okay. और कौन है? Menka Gandhi. Yeah, I knew this is gonna come. Rajkumar. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's correct. Now we are talking about the last one, visual spatial intelligence. क्या मतलब हुआ इसका? विजुअल स्पेशल इंटेलिजेंस का मतलब हुआ विजुअल मतलब देखना, स्पेशल मतलब स्पेस की बात कर रहे हैं, यानी कि हम 3D की बात कर रहे हैं. 3D दो जगह होता है. एक तो होता है जो हम देख रहे हैं बाहर, इट्स आउटसाइड, एंड एक होता है अंदर, व्हेन वी आर मेडिटेटिंग. Still there's a 3D imagination that we are doing it, right? The best example I can give you for visualization is an architect. Architect visualize a building and before into the mind first and then put into the blueprint, and then finally, with a lot of coordination stuff like that, the building comes as a factual thing in front of you. Interior designer thinks of, like how the room is look like or how the building is going to be looking like inside it, like, and architect, like, design it outside, the complete business, the front, this thing and all the stuff, they're going to do. And the interior design is going to think of how the furniture placement has to happen, how the theme has to be given and all the stuff, right? Fashion designer might think of what is the color combination of the clothing, how would you, like, fit in the clothes which will make a fat man looks a little thinner or slimmer. So all that stuff, they know it all, they do it all. And some people might think of painting, like, how like visual spatial, how you can, like, create a kind of a painting which gives a 3D look, something like that. So idea is that some people have got a great idea about that, and some people may not have much idea. So these people जिनका विजुअल स्पेशल बहुत स्ट्रांग होता है, जब वो गाड़ी को रिवर्स करते हैं, when they take the car and they reverse the car, they do it very comfortably because उनका 3D जो visualization है, space distance कितना है, that calculation is very apt actually. But for the people who are not good at it, वो आगे करेंगे, they'll take it forward, take it back, take it forward, take it back, take it forward, take it back. That's the way it's gonna happen, right? So ultimately, this is what it is. These are the 8 intelligence. I want you to give me an example. I'm sure you have already given. MF Hussain, Yogi, Astra Traveler, Leonardo da Vinci, a visionary, yes. Abu Jani, yes. A film director, Manish Malhotra, correct. Elon Musk, yeah, correct. Manish Malhotra, film director, successful businessman, art director. Take care. Thank you so much, everybody. So I hope you understood that, because this is the crux of it. अगर आपको ये समझ आ गया, अभी तक तो most of us did not even know that there are 8 type of intelligences. Now we know there are 8 type of intelligences. अब 8 का मतलब क्या है? We have understood that also. No one intelligence is good for one profession. Different profession may require a different intelligence. I'll give an example of sports. Now, sports mein, let's talk about the, let's say, MS Dhoni. MS Dhoni, people consider was a great leader. He was a great player. He was a great team player, right? I could have taken other examples also, but I'm just taking one example. Okay. Now, and MS Dhoni ko, what are the skills? What are the aptitude that he would require to be a great cricketer? पहला पकड़ लेते हैं intrapersonal intelligence. He require an intrapersonal intelligence because he has to take care of the people, the team, so that the team stand by him at the time when the performance has to be delivered. So it is not the sympathy, it is the empathy. He has to exercise the empathy with the team members so that he win the people's heart, and then they perform and they play together because they're then genuinely bonded, because though their leader is taking care of them, right? Second is the interpersonal skill. Sorry, this is about the interpersonal skill. What I was mentioning, that is people smart. Intrapersonal skill is all about self smart. You have to be very clear that what is it that I need from myself and from my team members, right? What is it that I wanted? So that thing has to be done. So even intrapersonal skill has to be very good. Mathematical intelligence, that is the logical ability, because you have to create a very mathematical plan. What is competition? Who are the strong players? Who are all strong players? What position should I send the people at? That's all the logical calculation based on the performance and their strategies and the stuff like that. So you need to have the mathematical this thing also. You need to have the kinesthetic ability, because you need to have a stamina to run and to hit the six or fours, isn't it? So this is linguistic is fine if you have an average also, but if it's good, it's great. Musical, it's not there, it's okay. Naturalist observation has to be there, because when the ball comes in, you have to hit it, right? The right timing is very important. Visual spatial, 3D, and 3D is very important. I asked a lot of people, what is the difference between why the God has given us two eyes? Anybody can tell me why God has given us the two eyes? Write down. Namrata says visualize more. Harshit said the right answer is he is given. Harshit gave the right answer. That's 3D. With one eye, you can only see 2D. If you want to create a distance, you want to understand what is the distance, you want to visualize the distance. Therefore, you need a two eyes. With two eyes, the 3D effect comes in, and then you know this is the difference. When you take the cars at the reverse, you know how much back you have to take it. You just can't hit and bang the other car, isn't it? So great. So this is what it is. This is what it is, right? So visual spatial. So ultimately, I mean, we are talking about that. तो उसको visual भी चाहिए है, क्योंकि उसको पता होना चाहिए कि what is the timing at which you have to hit the ball. If you miss the timing, most of the cricketers or anybody you miss the timing, you're gone. You've lost the game or you lost the battle, whatever it is, right? Yeah, we can imagine 4D also. Richa, you're absolutely bang on. Okay, so I think it was great session so far. If you like it, if there was a learning. Now let's talk about the second part. Thank you, thank you, thank you, like people who liked it. Now let's talk about the second part. So there's something called the McKinsey theory, and the McKinsey said, I don't want, matlab, like he wanted to further classify the like 8 intelligence, like because ultimately 8 intelligences are there. Now, if you further classify into 3 parts, so what he did was he said logical, musical, naturalist. He combined three aspects in one: visual and interpersonal, and verbal, interpersonal, and kinesthetic. So he created these three things. Ki a person can be either analytical, or a person can be interactive, or a person can be introspective. So he further classified into three parts so that we can understand them better, right? तो एक तरह से क्लासिफाई कर दिया द एनालिटिकल डोमेन कंसिस्ट ऑफ द लॉजिकल म्यूजिकल एंड नेचुरलिस्ट इंटेलिजेंस राइट लॉजिकल से आप एनालाइज करते हो ना you do that right there are the intelligence these are the intelligence that promote the process of analyzing and incorporating data in accumulating knowledge so that's number one. Number two is the interactive. Interactive domain consists of the verbal, interpersonal, and kinesthetic intelligence. These are the intelligences that learn typically employ the express themselves and explore their environment. तो हमारा second हो गया interactive, the people, empathy जिनमें है, interactive people, those kind of people. And third is introspective. There are certain people who visualize and they are the intelligence, they promote learning through own experience and belief. They would like to do it by themselves. So ये जो होता है introspective domain consists of intrapersonal and visualization, right? So they think a lot and all this stuff. They are kind of they do the research. They introspect themselves. तो इसमें से जो भी highest होता है ना, you will have all the three. It cannot happen you have just one. But the one which is most dominant is the one which is like, related to which McKenzie theory says, and that is one data that you require while you do the counseling. Third data that you require is, as I said, is like a 5-step process if you remember. The third step is called the realistic theory. The personality type. So there are different type of personality and it can be done by various ways. Here what we are using is called the Riaz theory. Riaz theory, R stands for realistic. Some people, physical and outdoor activities who can do, they have a hands-on thing, tool-oriented knowledge, So there are people who are realistic. They are like, they would like to do the things themselves. There are people who are investigative. They would like to research and intellectual curiosity hogi and they will be learning. Science and technology suits them best. Artistic people, they have an aesthetic sense and expression. Feeling, passion, creativity and design are their attributes. Social jo honge, they have conveying, understanding others, personal relationship. They would like to nurture the relationship, network with the people, take care of the people. And try enterprising people take action, understand projects, leading, managing. They are more like an entrepreneurs for that matter. And conventional people, they are on to planning, structuring, processing data and figures. So ये सारे ये 6 different type of personalities can be there. Whichever is highest is your personality. In this case, enterprising being the highest, which is 7.33%. So this person has got an enterprising personality, right? So while you give the career suggestion, I think these are the things that you come to know about it, that, like this is the thing that this is the type of personality. So what happens is when you do the psychometric test report, the very first thing that you need to capture is the interest. So the child answers 80 different questions. 10 questions are related to one intelligence because there are 8 intelligence, 80 questions. Child will have to fill from 1, 2, 3, 4. Strongly disagree to strongly agree. So while we have to capture the interest of a child, when child fills up 80 questions and he fills up 1, 2, 3, 4, for example, the question would be something like this. If I want to check your musical intelligence, I'll ask you what it is like, do you play a musical instrument? If you play a musical instrument like guitar or keyboard or anything else, and you are a great player, you'll say 4. If you're learning right now, you might say 3. If you're planning to learn, you might say 2. If you don't enjoy at all, you'll say 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, mein, whichever is apt, you'll write down that. You'll answer 4. Okay. So that way, all 80 questions the student answer. And then what is software? Software is nothing but the set of algorithm which actually give meaning to your thing. Whatever that you've been thinking, it will actually give a meaning to it, right? तो अल्टीमेटली यही करने वाला है. तो अल्टीमेटली क्या होता है उसको पहले तो आपका इंटरेस्ट कैप्चर हो गया when the child has answered the question. Then it will give you a multiple intelligence theory के बारे में. It will actually like help you to understand which is number one, number two, number three, number four. It will give a ranking, percentage, dominant, non-dominant, average, weak, everything it will explain you. Then it will talk about the Rayas theory, which is all about the personality type. So you know कि fine aptitude हो गया, interest हो गया, aptitude हो गया, and personality हो गया. You remember the 5 steps that we were talking about. That is the thing. Then thereafter, you have to educate the person that this is the profession based on your this thing will be the best. So who will do that? So software ka algorithm is set in such a fashion that software itself will do that. It will give you a very basic idea that what are the 3 best professions that suits you. So software will tell you that. You don't have to do anything about it. And then once you know that whichever is dominant, for example, if a person has got visual, which is more dominant, or naturalist, which is more dominant, or interpersonal, based on that, you have the professions which are being laid on, which are being written, and basis which you can actually like say, fine, if you are having number one as interpersonal skill, you can be an actor, you can be an administrator, you can be a communication manager, conflict resolution specialist, cruise director, customer service rep, dental hygienist, group mediator, human resource manager, and stuff like that. So it's a free flow of information. If you are having a strong number one verbal linguistic, then you can be an attorney, comedian, communication specialist, curator, all that stuff. So idea is that whatever is your strongest, based on that, there are list of profession which are given, and basis which you counsel the person and suggest that based on the aptitude and the personality that you have it and the interest that you have it, these are the profession that best suits you. Okay. Now, having said that, then thereafter, there could be an idea where you might be required to improve upon your intelligence. So in that case, what you do is, आपको पता होना चाहिए, because it's not about identifying that what is the challenge or what are the strong one, what are the weak one. You need to have a roadmap also. तो ये पूरा roadmap होता है जिसमें आप 25 ways लिखते हैं कि these are the ways by which you can improve upon it, right? तो ये पूरा उसका system होता है. So this is the thing, glimpses. So this is about the psychometric test report and the general theories. General theories are very common in psychometric also and DMIT also. So far we were talking about the general theory. It was not related to psychometric, or it was not related to DMIT. Now we will be talking about the DMIT. All right. Great. So let's now understand the glimpse of DMIT report I'm going to be sharing with you. सबसे पहले हम समझते हैं कि DMIT होता क्या है, that's quite important to understand, right? And fundamentally, what is the difference between psychometric and DMIT? So psychometric is what? Psychometric is like basically it's a psychological matrix. It is primarily a process in which we identify a various data, we get the various data. Through a software, we give a meaning to that data, and basis which we are able to do that. Generally, psychometric test is all about helping you to, in the selection of a stream and selection of the career. That's the major purpose of the psychometric. Who all are using psychometric? The entire world is using psychometric. Be it the Fortune 500 companies, be it the top B schools, be it the top engineering schools, be the top medical, everybody uses psychometric. That's the most acceptable tool as of now, which is available today. Okay. And DMIT in recruitment, yes, absolutely, Rajni. So in DMIT, what happens is DMIT is called dermatographic multiple intelligence test. Basic difference between psychometric and DMIT is DMIT is a innate potential. You need, when you were born, what was the potential that you had is what DMIT tells you. Psychometric tells you the current potential. For example, your multiple intelligence, when you were born, you had certain multiple intelligences. But over a period of time, like, you have acquired a lot of things from the environment, from your institution, from your school, from your friend, from your family. Your mind has been programmed. There are certain people who are born in a different state. Some states has got the culture where everybody is preparing for UPSC, for civil services. Some state has got a culture where everybody is doing business. For example, if you go to Gujarat, you don't produce many IAS officers, but you produce what? A businessman, a great businessman. You go to Rajasthan, there's a business culture. You go to Bihar, you'll have everybody, like most of the people would be just like going for the government job. If there's no government job, we will not even give you our daughters. It's like that. I mean, UP, you'll have certain parts in the similar thing. Everybody's preparing for UPSC. The people who don't do anything, they're preparing for UPSC. You know, I've seen like that. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say, like different people, like if we talk about Kerala, Kerala has got this thing, and there are a lot of people, a lot of nurses who goes there. If you go to Punjab, everybody wants to go abroad. So different city, different places has got a different culture. तो इसको हम बोलते हैं कि you acquire. So the family that you are born in, the family that I was born in, everybody was preparing for IIT. Everybody. If you don't prepare for IIT, it's a crime. It's like considered like that. So there was a great peer pressure that was already there. So therefore, I feel like, I mean, so the purpose of it is कि आपको, you should know what is your current level, because when you have to decide about the profession, you can't say कि DMIT will not be the right tool, because you need to understand what have you acquired over a period of time and basis which the decision has to be made it. So in a nutshell, psychometric is used primarily to identify the right profession that you should get into for career counseling and for stream selection. That's the major thing, right? But if you talk about a DMIT, I'll tell you how the birth of DMIT so happened. It was the year 2000, like, I'll just take a break here. So it was the year 2000, not 2000, it was about 200 years back. There were a couple of kids who were born in a different part of the world, and these kids didn't have the cortex. Now, when you say cortex, what does it mean? It's like the top brain. Now, cortex, not having a cortex, these kids don't survive for more than 24 hours. And it was realized that all these kids who were not having a cortex were not even having a fingerprints. So no brain, no fingerprint. This is called Down syndrome. So when this was noticed, this raised an eye. How is that possible, and how is that, can it be a coincidence that 100% kids born without the brain are not having a fingerprint? And that's what raised the eye. The research started. Later on, there were 800 papers which were being submitted at the various time intervals. Various people researched and came in, and finally, there was there was a Dr. Cumin, the Cumin, Harold Cumin. Dr. Harold Cumin, who is considered to be the father of DMIT, he came up, he took the fingerprints of 5 lakh people, and there were a couple of sciences which were combined, like embryology, genetics, neuroscience, and derma. These 4 sciences were being combined together. And by taking 5 lakh people's fingerprint, that was studied over a period of years, and it was being classified, summarized, the data and everything was being done. And thereafter it was finally classified into 2021 different type of fingerprint, which has got a meaning. So it was considered that when the child is in the mother's womb, medically that's proven and that's known, when the child is in mother's womb, from 13th week to 21st week, the fingerprint and the brain simultaneously gets developed. So a brain activity that happens, that creates the kind of a fingerprints. When we say fingerprint, we are not talking about that astrological lines. It's not the fingerprint. Fingerprint यहाँ है, fingerprint यहाँ है, fingerprint, तो fingerprint तो यहाँ पे होता है, right? And this is unique, as you know, even if it's twins, it's quite unique, right? And fingerprint, the ridges that is there in the fingerprint, that reflects what? You know that reflects the number of active neuron count that is there in the brain. And this is primarily the science behind it, that this hand is like this: prefrontal, frontal, temporal, parietal, temporal, and occipital. And this is like this. तो ये हमारे 10 पार्ट जो है 10 उससे कनेक्टेड है और उसके बेसिस पर दैट कंप्लीट थ्योरी देन डॉक्टर हॉवर्ड गार्डनर की जो मल्टीपल इंटेलिजेंस थ्योरी है, this science of horror tumid and like this thing were combined together way back, and then like it started like there was no other way where you could have actually like mapped your brain. So this is the scientific process through which you are able to map the brain, and there's so much of a data that you are able to actually like understand that, right? When you talk about a psychometric test में क्या हो सकता है कि the difference can be there because difference in terms of when you answer now and you answer after 2 days, your answers might even change for that matter. So when psychometric is done, it's not necessarily the same report will be coming. But when you talk about DMIT, because it's a fingerprint science and it cannot go wrong. So therefore, it will be the same report and it has to be done once in a lifetime because the fingerprint never changes. Now, this is the most beautiful report to my mind. You know why? The very important reason why I consider this is the most beautiful report. This is called dermatographic multiple. Derma skins and dermatographic multiple intelligence is the theory that was coined by Dr. Howard Gardner. Okay, dermatographic multiple intelligence theory. That is what we call it as a DMIT. It is generally a lifetime report and we call it a 70-page report. And it gives you such a important data about yourself that when you want to plan to nurture a child, you cannot nurture a child without having a data. Now, this gives you a data which is very crucial. It's something like, for example, I mean, when you buy an air conditioner, you buy a gadget, you buy a phone, you always get a manual. And that manual describes you that this is what is like, that manual helps you to understand. That manual describes you, that helps you to understand that fine, this is the way the things to be operated. But while the child is born, there's no manual that comes along. And we call ourselves as a parent and we say, fine, we are doing a great parenting. But what makes you say so that you are doing a great parenting? It's not being conscious about the timings of the food and like making a child multi-talented in various things, taking care of the health and taking care of the sports activity and even the studies for that matter, and creating a balance and developing his abilities in other singing and the stuff is not something that we call it like a great parenting. This is really good, very good, and that's the right parenting. But then without the data, how would you nurture the child? For example, if you have a BMW and if you drive at the speed of nano car, will that be justified? Our brain has got so much of potential and we can develop it. But idea is we have the BMW, but we are driving at the pace of a nano car. So to understand that how to drive at the higher speed and use the power of the BMW, you need to have that data, you need to have the points to be considered, you need to have that roadmap. So that roadmap is nothing but the DMIT. I call this as a user manual. Okay. Now, these reports are valid for the lifetime, Rajneesh. You're absolutely right, Chetna. Correct. Right. So glimpses of, now I'm showing you, now I've told you about the theory of it. Now, quickly, I'm going to be showing you what all the things that you get, what data that you get it from this thing. When you want to nurture a child, there's a data that you require, right? If I ask you as a great parent, tell me whether your child is a left brainer or right brainer. I can tell you why do you require to know that your child is a left brainer or right brainer. If I ask you, tell me what are the 8 multiple intelligences that your child has got, what's the ranking of your child, which I've just explained you. Do you know about that? Or you talk about yourself. Do you know about that? So idea is there's nothing wrong in not knowing that, right? I am saying you need to understand that that's the data that you require. When you want to nurture it, when you know the child is good in logical, you need to give an exposure. Or he's weak in logical, You need to make a plan where the child starts playing. I will share the recording, Jagannath. So when the child is playing, so ultimately at the end of it, what's gonna happen? Right. So when the child, I forgot. I mean, I'm so sorry. I was just like I was answering somebody and I just forgot. So any which way, so I was just talking about that. So ultimately, it's very important that data has to be there if I want to know about like what is the IQ level of a child, what is the EQ level of a child, what is the CQ level of a child, what is the AQ level of a child, right? If I come to know what is the learning style of my child, is it a visual learner, auditory learner, kinesthetic learner, right? I'll just discuss everything with you. Now, just have a glimpse because I'm just gonna be over with the session in next very soon, next 10 to 15 minutes, I guess. We are right in time. Maybe we might surprise 10 minutes. If you're enjoying the session, stay back. If you're feeling sleepy, you can go back, right? So, any which ways, thanks for staying back because I've seen that everybody who joined in almost is available today. So, I hope you're enjoying the learning. All right. So, glimpses of DMIT मैं पहले आपको दिखाता हूँ ये लगती कैसे है ना रिपोर्ट. ओके. तो सबसे पहले हम बात करते हैं, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द पर्सनालिटी टाइप. वी हैव गॉट प्राइमरी पर्सनालिटी, वी हैव गॉट सेकेंडरी पर्सनालिटी. प्राइमरी पर्सनालिटी का मतलब क्या होता है? द व्हेन वी गो आउटसाइड, लेट्स से वी गो फॉर अ मैरिज पार्टी where we don't know anybody, right? We are invited, we got the card, we thought let's go, jana to hai. So we just put some 2100 rupees in the like envelope, and with the sealed envelope we just go there, and then we taste the food how it is, then we take out 1000 rupees, said 1100 is good enough. Just cracking a joke, but yeah, what I'm trying to say is ki, like when you go and speak to the strangers, so while you speak to the strangers, and whatever is your personality reflected at that point of time, that's called the primary personality. Secondary personality is when you're at the comfort of your home. You're there in front of your parents, your wife, your children. You can be very comfortably up sofa pe lete hue, you're lying onto the couch and watching TV. But you can't do the same thing while you're in public, right? That's the difference. Some people have a different primary and secondary, some people have got the same. Now, there are four different kind of a personalities that you may have it. You may be dominant, which is reflected by the bird called eagle. You may have a personality called influential, which is reflected by the peacock. You may have a personality where owl is there, and that's a compliant personality. And you may have a personality of a study, which is like a dove, because dove is a symbol of peace. So eagle has got the personality of a dominant, and eagle means they are goal oriented, visionary. It's like a CEO. बोल्ड होते हैं, डिटरमाइंड होते हैं, इनबॉर्न लीडर्स होते हैं, रिजिड होते हैं, एग्रेसिव होते हैं. दिस इज द थिंग. आई जस्ट बिग इन्फ्लुएंशियल की बात करते हैं तो इन्फ्लुएंशियल पीकॉक टाइप ऑफ पर्सनालिटी, अनलिमिटेड पोटेंशियल है. दे वेरी कंजर्वेटिव, दे आर सेंटर ऑफ अटेंशन, दे ऑलवेज वांट पीपल शुड वॉच मी. There are a lot of people who just want to dress up very well because the only thing is in the place where there are 800 people coming on the wedding, I want that the people should look and compliment me. If they don't compliment, your day is gone types, no? So maybe talkative people, defensive, they can be influenced by others, need support and guidance to perform. They love to be noticed, like appreciation, love compliments, highly emotional people. ये उसका पीकॉक की अब बात करते हैं. कॉम्प्लाइंट की बात करते हैं तो इट्स लाइक एन आउल. व्हाई वी कॉल इट आउल? बिकॉज दे आर प्रोसेस ओरिएंटेड, फॉल्ट फाइंडर्स, एनालिटिकल, नोटिस डिटेल्स, शार्प ऑब्जर्वेशन. आउल की जो गर्दन है ना वो 360 डिग्री रोटेट होती है. सो बिफोर द आउल टेक्स अ फ्लाइट, इट फर्स्ट टेक्स it have a look at every angle. When it feels safe, then they take a flight. These people are very perfectionists. They're process oriented, fault finders, analytical, notice details, sharp observation, macro management, methodical, all that stuff, right? Dove, we all know that's a symbol of peace, people, relationship oriented, team player, very cooperative, very supportive. They have a peaceful approach, believe in doing together, limited lift triggers. So this is what it is. So these are the four different type of personalities that we may have it, right? Then once you realize that you've got a dominant personality, there's a SWOT analysis which is already being done for you. If you're dominant, so your strength is that you're a goal oriented, target centric, decisive, independent, and bold. Your weakness is you're aggressive, you're egoistic, you're rigid, my way or highway, lose big picture, right? Threat क्या है, आपका visionary क्या है, opportunities क्या है, ये सारा आपको डेटा इसके अंदर से मिलता है. You get the data, right? Then सबसे important चीज that I was talking about it कि आपकी जो 10 fingers हैं, these are connected to the 10 parts of the brain. Give me a moment. Right, sorry. So yeah, so different part of the brain. So what it has given is like it has given you like ये जो 10 parts है ना हमारे brain के, it has given you the thing detail about it. Which part is which, how much strong and what is the percentage. Green one signifies the strong, red one signifies the weak, and blue one signifies the average. तो ये हर एक के बारे में आपको बताता है. It talks about every brain part, right? This is the information that you get it from there. Then it will help you to understand whether you are a left brainer or right brainer. If you are left brainer, then what does it mean? You're logical. If you are right brainer, then what does it mean is you are creative. And if it is there, then what is that you need to do? It will further indicate that what is the questions that you have. What is your IQ level? Intelligent quotient. What is your emotional quotient? Right? Emotional quotient. Are you empathetic towards somebody? What is creative quotient? Do you love playing? Are you into performing arts, or are you into, making photographs, or maybe whatever creative thing that you have it? How do you find the solution, the creative solutions? So this is what creative quotient is. Then comes in adversity quotient. Adversity quotient means if there's a like tricky situation into your family, if there's some mishappening happening into the family, how would you deal with that? Would you break down, or would you take a charge and sail over that? So that's extremely important. So people with a high AQ would be able to manage situation. People with a weak AQ will be able to just cry, nothing more than that, right? So this is something which is very important. Then you come to know about learning style. Are you a visual learner, auditory learner, kinesthetic learner? For example, if you're a visual learner, you will learn the things by watching. If you're an auditory learner, you'll learn the things by listening. And if you're a kinesthetic learner, you'll learn the things by doing the thing. I'll quickly give a very small example of auditory learner. My daughter, when she was in 7th class, at that point of time, I did the DMIT for her and learned about. Give me a moment. Learned about the particular that what type of learning style that she's got it, and I realized that she's an auditory learner. उसमें एक टिप्स दिया हुआ था कि what do you do when you are an auditory learner, and the tip was that you should make a notes of whatever that you have made, whatever you have written. You make your auditory note onto the mobile, just record your voice, whatever the notes that you made, just read that and realize that, right? So once that will happen, so what will happen is ki you will be in a position to recall the things faster when you listen to your own voice, which is being recorded, because you're an auditory learner. Now when the exams will come, during that point of time you have to revise, you don't have to read the notes because you're not the kinesthetic learner. You're an auditory learner, so you just hear it out. And you would be able to retain better, perform better, and save time at the same time. She applied the same thing just to see how well it works, and it worked pretty well. So this is what just a small example of it is, which I've seen practically happening. So these tips, whether if you're an auditory learner or visual learner, kinesthetic, if you come to know, and you can actually give the information to the child in similar way. In school, they teach in the same way, but at home, you can actually do that different thing. So this is what it is. Then comes in extracurricular activity. Summer vacations are about to be coming, and you'll put the child in any activity. If you know that the child could perform better in these two, three activities, then you rather would put him or her into that particular activity. It saves a lot of money. Stream selections, science, commerce, or maths, whichever, or sorry, humanities, whichever should you be selecting. Then comes in, so your role is going to be academic counseling, behavioral counseling, career counseling, and relationship counseling. All these roles you can play with DMIT report. There are different type of DMIT reports that's going to be coming, right? So this is what it is. And now tomorrow, today with this, like, my technical training ends here. This is the fundamental training. This is not the complete deep training, but yeah, it's a crux of everything together. You have understood about the 5-step process. You have understood about the brain lobes. You have understood about the you have understood about the brain lobes. You have understood about the brain anatomy. You have understood about the multiple intelligence Rayas theory. You have understood about McKenzie theory. You have learned about you've seen the psychometric test report, process of career suggestion for that matter, and you have also understood about the DMIT stuff. What all it contains. So, and you have also understood about the science today. So I think this much information is good enough for you to learn and understand that what it is like, whether this profession is something that you want to take it forward or you don't want to take it forward. इतनी इंफॉर्मेशन से आपको ये पता चलता है कि ये प्रोफेशन आपके लिए बना है कि नहीं बना है. To my mind, the market is so big that there are 25 crore people, and DMIT can be done for anybody who is technically 1 year plus, but I suggest do it for the people who are 4 years plus. Don't do it for a lesser age, because they are just born actually, like we shouldn't, even the parents should not plan at that age. 4 5 years, good enough, then you start it. DMIT best suits 4 to 14 years, to my mind. It can be done for 50, 60, 70 years old person also. Purpose of DMIT is to nurture. Purpose of DMIT is to basically nurture the child based on the data. It's a self-discovery tool, but psychometric is all about, guiding the person for selecting the stream and selecting the career. So when it comes to career selection and career coaching, we shall be talking about psychometric. But while you talk about discovering self, and based on that, making a roadmap and understanding what are the weaker areas to be developed, that's about DMIT. And who's your target audience? Anybody and everybody, right? Tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sharing a report with you. I am sharing a report with you. Maybe I would try to even share a link with you where you can download all the reports and you can see what all the reports looks like. You'll have a fair amount of idea. So before joining tomorrow's session, if you would have seen how the report looks like, you'll have a fair amount of idea of what all content it can deliver, right? And with today's topic, you would be able to relate it also, because I've given you enough knowledge about the technicality. Now, technicalities are one thing which is very important, but then is that all? That will not make you successful. That's one part of it. Second part is business. If you know how to take the journey forward, if you understand what is your target audience, if you understand that how do you reach your target audience, what is the cost factor involved, what kind of a pitching to be used to basically speak to and convert them, if you know about all that stuff, then that's the point of time that you can really gain confidence and know, okay, fine, you can actually like be into the market. Idea is that I want to prepare you for a reason so that you can target to do 100 counselings per month, starting with 25 counselings per month, and go to 100 counseling in the next 3 months' time. That's the journey I want each one of you to travel. When you do 100 counseling and charge 5,000 rupees, it's like 5 lakh rupees you can charge genuinely. But to reach there, you have to start with 1 counseling per day, which makes 25 counseling for a month, right? And that is also crazy because you start with at least a lakh of rupee. The point is to reach there, what are the step-by-step process? What is that you need to do? That is something I'm going to be discussing tomorrow. The people now who want to get into business, for the people who just wanted to have the information, today's session was good enough. For the people who want to make a business out of it and help the nation, help the kids, help the parents, that's wherein I invite you to be a part of the thing tomorrow at 11 o'clock. This second link that I've already given, there were two links. So today you should go back after this session and just register on that particular link so that you don't forget and you actually attend at 11 o'clock, right? With this, I'm over and I'm ready to take your queries. If at all, any queries that you may have it, I'm more than happy to answer that. Please shoot your queries right away. Anybody, any query, just type down into the chat window. I would be more than delighted to. And the people who don't have a query can leave without having any shakes because I know it's late and it's a dinner time, so you can just go that. So and thank you, Istakian, that you liked it. I would like to have a feedback. Did you like the session at the scale of 1 to 5? Where do you rate this particular session? So please do mark and be very honest about it. Even if it's low, I won't mind that. I don't want to be pleased. I want to understand the reality. 4, 5, 3, 5, 4, 3, 5, 3.5. All right. 5, honestly. Thank you, Siv. I can't share the PDF right now. I'll share the recording definitely. Priya 4, thank you so much. 4.5. Very rare to see such knowledge. Thank you so much, Ankit. Relationship counseling, how it can help, right? 4.75. Thank you so much, dear. So I just wanted to have an idea because, the journey will always be to continuously improve yourself, and you can only improve yourself when you honestly want to take a feedback, be it negative or positive, because when you welcome them, then only improve, otherwise you don't improve. So thanks for the time and thanks for the feedback. Now you can just put in your question into the chat window. I would answer if at all any question that you may have. Course details, please. That we are going to be doing it tomorrow, Chetna. Tomorrow, I'm looking forward for people. Price of software again. I will be selling you the software tomorrow for sure. If you attend the software, chances are you'll be sold. So attend at your own risk. I can tell you this. See you tomorrow, Siv. Looking forward. Empaneling us. I don't know, Ankit. What do you mean by empaneling us? We won't be. This is the knowledge session. I'm not going to provide any certificate for that, and neither I'm going to be doing. So I would like to rather, I wanted to impart the knowledge to everybody, and that's the reason why I kept this session, right?
So you said that this whole thing is based on fingerprints. Now, how do we get these fingerprints?
That can be, yeah, the best part is there was a time when the fingerprints could have been only taken. Give me a moment. Somebody's mic is, yeah. So there was a time when fingerprints were only taken by a biometric scanner, which cost about 4,700. वो एक ही बायोमेट्रिक स्कैनर जर्मनी से आता है जो फ्यूट्रॉनिक्स का होता है FS80H इसका मॉडल नंबर होता है 5300 का that is listed onto the Amazon but generally it costs about 4,700 with delivery and GST you get it right but now you don't require it because the people who are going to be joining us we will be teaching the technique not tomorrow but the people who join the main course we will be teaching a technique where now the boundaries are not there. You can take the fingerprint of anybody across the world, across the globe and do the thing. It is very workable technique and you don't require any app. It's a technique, a beautiful technique where you can take the fingerprint online. So does not ever matter whether even if you're from the smaller city, let's say if you're from a very, very small city where there's not much of a potential, you can still do the DMIT as long as you've got that Wi-Fi at your place, which is a good Wi-Fi. Utna hi chahiye. If you have that, you can take a fingerprints online for anybody. All right. So this is what it is. So any other questions that you have, guys? I will check out. If you want to generate a sample DMIT report, how will the access to it understand better? I'll share the sample reports, Tanya, so don't worry about it. Sample report will tell you the what are the inputs that you required at, right? If you want to get your report done, it will have a cost of 5,000 rupees with counseling. You mentioned some links. Where do you share those? Which links? I don't remember what exactly you meant by that, Wasim. But yeah, I was talking about the link of a link through which you can download psychometric report. So that is something that I'm going to sending you onto the WhatsApp individually. So don't worry about that. Okay. Harshit, what is your question? Uh, Give me a moment. Sorry about that. So my role is TPO is engineering college. Okay, fine. So I think whatever it is, I think this was the crux of it, and I'm sure, like there would be tomorrow. We'll take up more queries if at all you have it. Like by the time you would have certain questions coming to your mind. So I would like to invite you all to be a part of it tomorrow. Please do go and register it today. And I would rather like to just make a beautiful session tomorrow where you can genuinely learn how to earn 1 lakh rupees to 5 lakh rupees, how to scale up your business, and how to make a dent into this particular industry and be one of the best counselors today in India. That is what I'm going to be discussing tomorrow. So I invite you to be a part of it. With this, signing off, Rajul Shrivastava. Take good care and enjoy your Saturday evening. Take good care. Bye. Thank you, Rashid.